Film camera emoji. Title: The Woman Who Cheated Death 3 Times, Titanic's Untold Survivor Story. Opening. Calm, suspenseful tone. Have you ever heard of someone who escaped death? Not once, not twice, but 3 times. This is the unbelievable true story of Violet Jessop, the woman who survived the sinking of not one, but 3 of the most famous ships in history. They called her Miss Unsinkable. But behind that title is a life filled with chaos, courage and fate. Scene 1. Childhood and early life. Violet Constance Jessop was born on October 2, 1887, in Argentina, to Irish immigrant parents. She was the eldest of 9 children, and life was never easy. At a young age, she contracted tuberculosis, and doctors said she wouldn't live long. But she did. That was her first battle with death. And she won. After her father died when she was 16, the family moved to England. Violet took care of her younger siblings, while her mother worked as a stewardess on ocean liners. But when her mother fell sick, Violet stepped up. At just 21 years old, she followed in her mother's footsteps and joined the world of ocean travel. Scene 2. The Olympic. First accident. In 1910, Violet began working aboard the RMS Olympic, the largest and most luxurious ship of its time, until her sister ship, Titanic, would take that title. But just a year later, in September 1911, disaster struck. The Olympic collided with a British warship, HMS Hawke, off the coast of England. A massive crash tore open the side of the ship. Passengers screamed. Chaos erupted. But the Olympic didn't sink, thanks to its design. Violet remained calm and helped others. Though the ship limped back to port, the event shook everyone. For Violet, it was just the beginning. Scene 3. The Titanic. The night the world stood still in April 1912, Violet was assigned to the RMS Titanic, the so-called unsinkable ship. It was her second major voyage. The crew and passengers were thrilled to be aboard such a magnificent vessel. But we all know how the story ends. On the cold night of April 14, 1912, just 4 days into the journey, the Titanic struck an iceberg. Violet described the moment, greater than we were told to come on deck. Passengers were in shock, some praying, some crying. I was handed a baby by a stranger, and told to get into lifeboat 16. As the ship groaned and tilted, she watched in horror as hundreds were left behind. She rode with the others through the icy Atlantic, with nothing but silence. And the cries of those still in the water. When rescue finally came in the form of the Carpathia, she was alive. Shaken, but alive. Scene 4. The Britannic. Final test of fate. Most people would have quit sailing after surviving the Titanic. Not Violet. During World War I, she volunteered as a nurse aboard the HMS Britannic, the third sister ship of the Titanic and Olympic, now converted into a hospital ship. In November 1916, while sailing near the Aegean Sea, the Britannic struck a mine and began to sink, fast. More than 1,000 people were on board. Violet once again found herself in a nightmare sea. She leapt from the ship just as lifeboats were being sucked into the massive propellers. She hit her head hard in the water, so hard she would later discover she fractured her skull. But she survived. 3 ships. 3 disasters. And still she lived. Scene 5. Life after death. Literally after the war, Violet continued working on ships until she retired, in the 1950s. She lived a quiet life in Suffolk, England, raising chickens and growing flowers. Years later, she received a mysterious phone call from a woman, who asked if she had once saved a baby during the Titanic disaster. Violet said yes, she never knew what happened to that child. The woman replied, "I was that baby," then hung up. To this day, no one knows if the call was real, or just another echo from a haunted past. Final reflection. Calm, inspiring tone. Violet Jessup died in 1971 at the age of 83. She outlived her ships. She outlived the odds. And she left behind a story that reminds us that fate, luck, and resilience can live in the same soul. Was she lucky? Or was she chosen? They called her Miss Unsinkable. But to us, she was something more, a symbol of survival, courage, and the power of the human spirit. Clapperboard emoji, end screen idea. Greater than. If you were fascinated by Violet's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true stories that defy belief.